Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be listing off not the top 5, but I guess just 5 bootleg releases that you should never buy. These are just 5 bootleg releases that are just so bad, and just stuff that's just not worth your money. Now this isn't the like the definitive list of top 5 bootleg releases you should never buy. This is just all these things on here are just based off of my personal run-ins with bootleg releases. Now I have to say most bootleg releases that I've come across are actually range from good to great. So most of the experiences with bootlegs in terms that I've come across, most of them are not bad at all. But there are a few, and five of them in particular that I've come across over the last couple of years that are actually legitimately terrible in varying different ways. Yeah. So this is 5 terrible bootleg releases that you should not buy. So first up is one from Morbid. And that is the cassette tape bootleg version of their demo, December Moon. I actually just did a video featuring this, literally like a minute ago. And I talked about a lot of it in that video, but I'm going to talk more about it here. Now, there was only 2 times this demo was officially released on cassette. The first time originally back in '87, and then again, I think in sometime in the 2010s, I believe it was 2016, that they officially re-released it on cassette tape. This is a bootleg version, and I actually just got this like yesterday, and it was very disappointing. It looks really cool. It has the original sort of artwork on it, and everything looks fine, but it's just very poorly recorded. There's times in here where the songs just stop. There's like long periods of almost complete silence in between like 2 or 3 of these songs, and in that almost dead silence in between, like you could hear the person that was recording this very unprofessionally, by the way, very badly done. You could hear them shuffling around and messing with different stuff and sort of trying to record it, but you could tell the person was having trouble figuring out on how to actually take the audio from whatever official release they had and just transfer it and record it onto cassette. It sounds like they didn't really know exactly what they were doing, very barely actually being able to do it. Yeah, and then also another problem with it is the fact that there are like at least 2 instances where songs cut off right before, like near the end, but before it actually ends. Now it's not like only a couple seconds before the end. Like especially with the last song, "Disgusting Samala," it cuts off. There was at least a full minute of song before it actually ends. It was actually cut short. Yeah, and then like another song, I believe it was My Dark Subconscious, that cuts off before it stops as well. But one of the biggest issues I have with it is the audio level. It is super quiet, like really, really quiet. Like I had to turn the volume all the way up on my cassette tape player, and even then it was very barely audible. It's just bad all the way around. And again, the person who made this bootleg clearly didn't really know what they were doing in terms of how to properly record a bootleg release. This is even below amateur level. This is just someone who didn't know anything about it. And like I said, I don't think have I said this, but I don't think I've ever maybe other than one instance, I don't think I've ever heard a bootleg so bad to the point, I've heard bad bootlegs, but I don't think I've ever heard a bad bootleg in terms of clearly you could hear the person like really having trouble trying to figure out how to actually actually record the audio and stuff for the bootleg. Yeah, it's just absolutely horrendously bad. Next up, let's see. What else do I have on here? I might as well do the only other release I actually own. And that is the very terribly done bootleg of Death Execution, also by Morbid. Now, I originally got this because the actual Death Execution release is, one, extremely hard to find, probably the hardest to find other than an official release of the original December Moon demo on cassette. And if you do happen to find it, it will cost you a lot of money. Like, I think the last time I've seen an official release being sold, it was like $800 or $900, and it was, yeah, I'm not willing to pay that much for that particular release. And so I ended up buying a bootleg, but not knowing what was in store. And it is just as bad, if not, yeah, I mean, I don't say it's 100% as bad as the other thing I just mentioned, but it is very bad. First off, the audio quality is shit. It's very bad. Now, it doesn't have the problem where it's super low or anything like the other thing I just talked about, but it's just very hazy, very fuzzy, and it's just low res in every sense of the word. And also another issue I have with it is the actual song structure. This is so out of alignment in terms of the placing of the songs. Even with like, it has a couple of live tracks, or like one or two, I think. I haven't listened to this in a long time because it's just so bad. But there are at least one or two live tracks, I think. But in terms of the December Moon EP, or sorry, not EP, demo. In terms of the December Moon demo, it is all over the place. I mean, it starts out relatively fine in terms of track listing with the instrumental slash My Dark Subconscious, but it's very mix and match after that. Like, the songs aren't quite in order, and there's one song, I can't remember which one it was. Oh, it was Disgusting Similar. Just like with the other thing I talked about, Disgusting Similar cuts off, but this time it's even worse than the bootleg cassette tape version, where it was only like the last like minute cut off. No, so the audio for Disgusting Similar on this version, the first large portion of the song, the audio is completely missing. Like, it's literally just the last like 30 seconds of the song, actually. Like, the last 30 seconds is there, but everything else is not there, which is very odd. But yeah, this is just a very bizarre bootleg, and it's just very poorly made. At least the other bootleg had the songs in order, but this does not. Also, it's very weird in terms of packaging. First off, you would think this would be the back, and this would be the front. But this is actually the back, and this is actually the front. So it's just another absolute mess. Even in a uncertain way, even more so than the other thing. But yeah, still really bad. Definitely avoid buying this. Alright. Next up is a bootleg of a Slayer live album. This bootleg, I believe, was called Slayer Live 1983. Now, there are no official live albums released by Slayer of any show from 1983. So this is kind of special because it's a bootleg of their 1983 live show, their first recorded live show, and I think their first live show ever, I think. Now, there's two different bootleg releases of that exact same show. The first bootleg release is actually very, very good. If I can find it. It is... Nope, that's not it. Hold on. Nope, not it either. Nope, that's not it. Oh, hold on. I think I have it in the wrong spot. Give me a second. Ah, here it is. Yeah, sorry, I had it in the wrong section of my shelf. The first one is Face the Fucking Slayer. This version of this bootleg live recording of that show is phenomenal. It sounds very official, even though it's very raw. But it looks and sounds pretty official. It's a very good bootleg. But that second bootleg of the exact same show, live show, is terrible. It is very low quality. Now, in terms of the audio itself, hold on. In terms of the audio itself on that other release, I've only heard people talk about it. I haven't actually heard it myself. Wait, no, sorry, I'm confusing it with a completely different one. I have heard it, but I don't think I've heard it in a long time. I believe it was uploaded to YouTube at one point, but I don't know if it's still up. But the audio quality is pretty bad. And the actual, like, set list is completely out of order. And as well as not just being out of order, it's labeled wrong. There are certain songs that were had alternate titles back in '83. I can't remember which ones they were. I have to go back and look, but there were certain songs that didn't have the same titles as they did later on Show No Mercy. And those songs on that particular bootleg, the Live '83 bootleg, were labeled wrongly. They were labeled as the titles of the version of the titles that would be later on Show No Mercy, instead of as they were called originally back in early '83. And also there were a couple of tracks that were never featured on any Slayer release other than this recording, and the more superior version of it that I just showed you guys. There are other songs that were like that, but they were also labeled wrong. And then the artwork too. The album cover was just a very zoomed in picture of the band. Very poorly done. But yeah, it's just another very bad bootleg. If you're looking for a bootleg of the '83 live show, like I said, definitely go for the bootleg, Face the Fucking Slayer. That's the superior version. Audio quality is raw, but very good for raw audio quality. And it's just an overall superior bootleg. Anyway, so next up is another Morbid bootleg, and that is Morbid/Mayhem. I can't remember the full title of it. I think it was something like Morbid/Mayhem, Tribute to the Dark Emperors or something. First of all, the version that I'm talking about is actually a bootleg of a bootleg. I believe it was originally bootleg. The original bootleg was a CD, but then it was made into a vinyl, but it's a bootleg of that CD bootleg, I'm pretty sure. And audio quality wise, it's pretty standard for a bootleg, but what makes it very bad, and at least in my opinion, is the actual Mayhem half of the split, the Morbid Mayhem split. Now, it is of course a tribute to both Euronymous and Dead, and so you want to have equal sort of like stuff, and the Morbid stuff, Dead, Mayhem stuff, Euronymous, and maybe even Dead as well. But my point is that they actually, for the Mayhem stuff, I think there's only 2 songs that had Dead on vocals. The rest were Attila, and they were taken from The Mysterious, but my problem with it is that it's not a tribute to Attila. It's a tribute to, both, Euronymous and Dead. So you would think even all the Mayhem songs would have Dead on vocals. Because, even no matter what early Mayhem stuff recordings are out there, all of them are going to have, Euronymous on it, because he was the guitarist. So he's on pretty much all that early stuff. But Dead isn't. So you would think it would be, the early stuff with Dead on vocals, and, Euronymous is always there, but Dead on vocals as well. But no, only 2 songs are like that, and others are taken from De Mysterious, or at least the early, rehearsal sessions of De Mysterious. I don't know. No, wait, no, they are De Mysterious. But my point is, it's just very uneven on the Mayhem side. Either you're going to have, all Dead era live songs that are on there, or none of them, and it's just the D Mysterious stuff. But yeah, it's just very uneven. And then let's see, what was the other one? There was at least one more. Uh, yeah. So the last one I want to talk about is both terrible in audio quality and just overall album cover. And I'm talking about the infamous Dawn of the Black Hearts a live Mayhem bootleg. Now, in terms of audio quality, it's pretty bad. Probably the worst live audio from Mayhem ever. But that's not what bothers me. Because there's a lot of bad audio quality in bootlegs and even early Mayhem releases, even if official. But album, the album cover is is the infamous part about it. So, for those of you who don't know or forgot, need a refresher, Dead unfortunately committed suicide in '91, and what happened was, Euronymous, being the psycho that he was, thought it was good for publicity, so he took a photo of Dead's corpse and plastered it on a bootleg live album, and then sent that out to be sold. And unfortunately, that was never stopped, and so there are probably thousands of copies of that bootleg still out there in circulation, with that very disrespectful photo on there. And that's what I really don't like about it. Not that the audio is terrible, but that photo is just so disrespectful to Dead's memory. And to anyone, like, even if it was anyone else, like, it's just very disrespectful, to have that kind of thing on being sold everywhere and stuff. And it's just probably the most terrible bootleg, not because of the audio, but because of the image on it. And it's just so disrespectful. But anyway, so that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.